What is up, YouTube? It's been too long since I created a video, so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things with some mods to the Jeep. So what are we doing today? You might already see them on the counter. We're going to be installing the KC Cyclone LED rock light kit. So this comes with 6 LED rock lights that you can see here. Really well made. This is actually an aluminum housing, not plastic, and it's got a nice, protector over the LEDs. This is acrylic, I'm assuming. These are IP6, waterproof rated, so they've got a little cover that you can take off as well. So really nice wiring with the connectors there, and you've got a nice set of wiring harnesses here to connect out to the actual rock lights. I've got my fuses out of the switch panel, which I'm going to walk out to the Jeep and show you guys in a minute. I will not be using the switch that comes with it because I've got the auxiliary switch kit in the Rubicon Gladiator, so we will not be using the yellow wire with the fuse because obviously these fuses are going to be in each one of the circuits for each individual light. So if anything were to ground out, it's just going to blow this fuse. Won't need to worry about the switch. Comes with some wire loom, comes with some zip ties to actually secure your wiring real nice. Comes with the wiring diagram, which you'll definitely need, and some hardware to actually get everything mounted up. So let me show you what I've done in the actual Jeep. Kind of got started a little bit, wanted to stop before I got too far along to show you a couple things. So for starters, if you've got the auxiliary light kit or the switch panel, you'll have these 4 wires. You've got the thicker ones, which are 40 amps, and these smaller ones are 15 amps. I'm going to use this pink and blue, which is auxiliary switch 4. It should be more than adequate because it's a little misleading, because you see this guy, this is actually the red power feed that goes right here into the actual individual switch panel with the fuses. But the funny thing is, if you trace it down, notice how it actually reduces in size. Hopefully you can see that on the actual camera if it's focusing. But basically, if you match up the gauge wire, we're pretty much on point with auxiliary switch 4. I'm gonna double check and just make sure that's adequate for 15 amps, but I don't think 6 of these puddle lights or these rock lights are really gonna draw all that much. I've already tested the circuitry to make sure that works, and then you've got your ground. And what's really nice about this is it actually Y's out. So essentially what you're gonna do is attach this to the negative battery terminal, at least what I'm gonna do. And then it comes with a negative ground post. So basically one of the Y's goes directly from the negative terminal to this to give you a proper ground. That way this doesn't have to be grounded to the chassis. And then each one of the individual rock light harnesses also has a ground, and they're intended to go on this post, and you tighten it down, and that acts as the singular ground for all 6 of the pods. So that should work good. I just decided to mount that right behind the shroud, and I'm using this for clearance, so obviously I've got that much clearance to close the hood, so that shouldn't be an issue there. I'm gonna double check that obviously when I close the hood for the first time, just to make sure that doesn't hit, but it's actually behind the shroud, so it should be fine. I can't imagine this bends when you close the hood that hard, but again, I'll be safe, make sure that's got good clearance, but I thought that was a good spot to mount it. Yeah, and so this thing I just zip tied. So in my opinion, there was no point of trying to drill holes for this. I mean, it's zip tied super tight, it's not going anywhere, plus you're gonna have a cover over this. So yeah, so that's where that is. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I haven't really decided where I'm gonna put these, because here's the thing. You've got different strokes for different folks, right? I personally don't really see a lot of value in mounting a rock light like right up here or here on the inner fender liner, because what's it gonna do? It's just gonna shine right on top of the tire. You're not gonna get any ground coverage whatsoever. It's gonna look cool, it's gonna light up the inner fender liner, but it serves 0 purpose. So I've got 6 of these. I'm gonna do a little bit of thought on where I actually mount these to get the best ground coverage, because that is their intended purpose, is to light up the trail at night, not your tire. So stay tuned and we'll see where we wind up installing these. Okay guys, just wanted to show you the finished product of the KC rock lights. Forgive the background noise, it's a beautiful day, everybody's doing yard work. So just to regroup, I know in previous videos Some of you have commented you'd like more details on how I did the wiring. Well, as you might imagine, it's super hard to record that as I'm doing it because I'm all under the vehicle, fishing wire and all that other good stuff. So hopefully this will give you a finished view of how I did it. So first, as I said in the beginning of the video, I just zip tied this guy to some real firm wire so it's not going anywhere. And I installed this ground post right here behind this rubber air intake shroud. I have checked clearance. There's no issues with this clearing the hood, so this is actually a pretty good spot to mount it. Just two self-tapping screws. I actually did do a pre-drill right here, so I'd have a nice secure finish, so that's not going anywhere. Now, there's some excess wire for the passenger side just because of where I mounted it, so I just kind of zip tied this up and out of the way, and the rest I fished through the back of the engine bay, as you can see, zip tying it along to make sure it doesn't fall and you know, come in contact with heat. Now on the driver's side, literally just right down through there, so the wire is zip tied up and secure. You know, you can see it's just got a little bit of play, but it's not going anywhere because it's zip tied in the engine bay. And that's essentially where I went down. Now, if you bear with me. Okay. So from a perspective standpoint, nice blue sky today. Here's the underside of the Jeep. So there's where the wire's coming down, and you can see the wire loom that I've got for my power steps right there, just zip tied along. Now, what I did with these Rocklights is it comes with brackets, right? So there's all kinds of mounting options, but I was trying to find some OEM locations so I could reuse some of the OEM bolts. And there's actually two pre-drilled holes right here. I may have to do a little bit more securing with this. Maybe I'll do one more zip tie right here to kind of keep it out of the light view. But anyway, there's a hole right here that actually had some bolts that came from, you know, different upgrades on the Jeep that actually fit those threads. So I didn't actually use the KC bolts here, but that's a nice secure mount. And it's, you know, if you can see, it's between the frame rail and the power step, you know, shining down right behind the front tire. And if you follow along, I did one of the KC brackets back here that actually came with it. Oop, didn't mean to zoom in on you guys, but yeah. So again, another OEM mounting spot though. I used one of the factory bolts that I had saved from previous mods and installed that on one of the KC little S brackets. And you know, that's gonna be a good spot almost right before the rear tire. And you know, I figure maybe one of these days I'll add two more behind the rear tires, but then again, once you're through the obstacle, you know, what else is there left to illuminate? So anyway, that's where they're at. That's how I did the wiring. Wiring's pretty straightforward actually, guys. I mean, it's especially if you've got the OEM switches and you don't have to wire the KZ switch, because literally every single wiring harness for each Rocklight grounds individually to this post. That's why they include it. This simply has a power wire going to the switch in my case, which again, I use the auxiliary 4. So when you click the switch in the Jeep, this is fired up, so it gives every one of them power. If there's ever any issues with the wires getting cut, these fuses would blow individually, and then everything is grounded to this post, which is connected to the negative battery terminal. So that's actually how it gets its good ground. So again, guys, it's a wrap. I think they look good. Now, the front location, I mounted right here. So this is actually on the front underside of the American Adventure Labs Highline LED bracket. So that'll give hopefully enough light where you're approaching the obstacle to actually see where your tire is going to go. So guys, if you haven't already, make sure to like this video. If you found this informative, subscribe to the channel, do all the YouTubery if you will. Thanks for stopping by. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you guys on the next one. I may add some footage of this at night before I post this video, so if I do, stay tuned for that footage as we roll this video.